Okay, I'm quickly just going to look at question 3e from the homework assignment for solving rational equations, just to go over another example of how you solve by multiplying by the lowest common denominator. So if we look at E, the format that this question's in, we have to make sure that we've factored first, that everything's factored. Then we're going to state our non-permissible values, state our LCD, and then we're going to multiply by the LCD. So if I look at the way the question is now, I don't need to factor anything, okay? Just pay attention to that last, the last term 1. This is really like 1 over 1, okay? Because you want to pay attention to that denominator to come up with the lowest common denominator. Okay, so like I've said, there's nothing that needs to be factored, so now we can just go and state the non-permissible values. So there's going to be 2 of them. So my 2 restrictions are that x cannot be equal to negative 1 over 3 and 1 over 3. So we're just going to simply write it as plus or minus 1 over 3. So those are my restrictions. Okay, now I have to come up with the lowest common denominator. So what's my LCD? So the easiest way to write my lowest common denominator is just going to be 3x minus 1 times 3x plus 1. Okay. So now the next step is you multiply every single term by your lowest common denominator. So I'm going to rewrite this out as 5 times, I'm multiplying it by 3x minus 1 times 3x plus 1. And this was just over 3x minus 1. Okay, do not multiply anything yet. Okay, plus this is going to be 3x times, I'm multiplying 3x minus 1 times 3x plus 1. And this was divided by 3x plus 1. Okay, and this is equal to 1 times, again, 3x minus 1 times 3x plus 1. And this was just divided by 1. Okay, now that you've written out what you're multiplying by, now we can cancel things out. So I can cancel out 3x minus 1 here. I can cancel out 3x plus 1 here. And then there's nothing I can cancel out with that last fraction. Okay, but the whole point, remember, is to eliminate the denominator. So now I'm left with 5 times 3x plus 1 plus, this is 3x times 3x minus 1 equals, I really don't need to write the 1 here, so I'm just going to be left with 3x minus 1 times 3x plus 1. Okay, I've eliminated the denominators, so now I can just go and distribute everything. So I'm going to distribute the 5 into the bracket. I'm going to distribute the 3x into the bracket, and then we're going to have to FOIL. So when I distribute the 5, I'm left with 15x plus 5, and then this is plus 9x squared minus 3x equals, okay, we're going to have to FOIL the next 2 terms, and once we FOIL, we're left with 9x squared minus 1. Okay, what do you notice? You notice that there's 9x squared, so it's like a quadratic equation, but if I was to bring one of them to either side, no matter what, they're going to cancel out. So I can just cancel out the 9x squareds. So now this is simply a linear equation. So collect like terms. So 15x minus 3x is 12x plus 5 equals negative 1. Okay, all I have to do now is to isolate for my x, so I'm going to add, not add 5, but I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides. So when I subtract 5 from both sides, I'm left with 12x is equal to negative 6. Okay, and then I need to simply just divide both sides by 12. So my x is equal to, this is just negative 1/2. Double check, was this one of my non-permissible values? It wasn't, so the solution is simply just negative 1 over 2. And then you would want to make sure that you verify if it's stated in the question, but in the question it actually doesn't say that you have to verify, so we could leave it like this. Okay, so here's just another example of how to solve by multiplying by the LCD.